Hello everyone. Today I thought of sharing with you all how does knowledge, what is the function of the knowledge in terms of truth realization? So what do you think? Do you think it will be helpful, the knowledge, to realize the truth, or it will hinder the path? What do you think? Well, in reality, in my experience, what I saw is it really hindered the path. And in reality, yes, knowledge is important when we want to do things in this material life. But when it comes to like spirituality, knowledge really comes in between. Like someone would ask me, then did you read books? Tell me, I have seen the book list of you, the spiritual book list that you have read. Didn't you read books as a truth seeker? Of course I did. Of course I did. One of my favorite book is The Book of Not Knowing. And the title says it all. The whole 700 page of that book is talking how much we don't know. We graduate and then get the degree and the master and the PhD, and then we think we know. But with all these degrees, when you come with all that to spirituality, none of these are relevant. In fact, you don't need any knowledge. That's why that book says the book of non-knowing. It really made me humble how much I don't know. I thought I knew, but that book really hit me to the core. The whole 700 page is all about saying that how much I don't know. Then whatever I have gathered is none of those my experience. It's just all other people's knowledge. That's their experience, not mine. All borrowed knowledge. If this knowledge is so useful, like in the Buddha's time, there was someone called Parker, and he is a person who used to wash toilets. He didn't have any knowledge. Only what he knew was to how to clean toilets. And I remember this story, like when the Buddha comes, he didn't have anything to ask, or like when Buddha said some few phrases, and immediately he realized the truth. If Sopak, without having any knowledge, if he can see this reality without any knowledge, who used to just wash toilets, how can any of us can't see it? You don't need any knowledge. And that's why in Christianity it says that there's a phrase that only childlike mind, only children can reach into the heaven, or some phrase which is similar to that. Why? Because only what you need is not knowledge, but a very innocent mind that you can see things like a child from the beginning, without corrupted by any data or knowledge. If you can see like a child looking at the world with wonder, not relying on any past or the knowledge that you've gathered, that person is closer to the truth. You need very much innocence And you don't need any knowledge. Of course, like for you to become successful in the material life, you need knowledge. But that you can gather. But when it comes to spirituality, there's no function. Like if you want to like read books, how I did was like I read books, but I didn't gather anything. I didn't collect anything and created a spiritual ego around that. What I did was like I read the book and I forgot all about it. Just not forgetting, it's just I read it and that's about it. I don't keep it on my head and just walk after that. I read it and that's it. I read hundreds of books. But all that spiritual books, I read it and that's it, just for the moment. In fact, I read 70 plus books of Osho, just of Osho. And I read them, but what I realized is I'm not gathering any knowledge. In fact, it's like the wind passing by. Even whatever the knowledge that I had by reading those books, what happened was just I got emptied. That's why I just emphasize on people to read books and listen to those who are truly awakened and who have seen the truth. Because they are not talking of any knowledge. They're not any repeating anything. They just talk from their own experience. That's what can transform you. That's what can empty you. If you already know who you are, with so much knowledge that you will say that, okay, I'm Dilmi, I am this, I'm that, and all in this way, if you already know who you are, you tell me why the universe needs to give you an answer to the question, who am I? Answer or any experience, because you already know. The cup is already full. If universe needs to give an answer, this cup needs to be emptied. Through knowledge also we are gathering, and through that gathering we create a spiritual ego, and that hinders the path. We don't need any knowledge. That's why I took that example of soap Parker who's washing toilets and what kind of a knowledge he had in order to see that reality, right? Just in that moment, just by meeting the Buddha and just hearing what he said few minutes. He was innocent. That's why he heard it. Innocent people would say this. Not every innocent person, but if they are doing the right inquiry with that innocence, sometimes I take this example with the water and the fish, you know. So if someone asks, if the fish go and ask from another fish, who's an enlightened fish, what kind of a book that I need to read in order to see the water? What do you think the other fish supposed to answer for that? None. The fish needs to stop swimming like a mad fish and stop. And it's right there the whole time. The fish is already in the water. Fish doesn't need any hook. So this is the reality of the knowledge. When it comes to spirituality, it doesn't have any meaning. And yes, you can read books, but you need to know how to like get it and then just leave it right there. And that's what I did. I didn't feel like by reading any awakened person's book that I'm gathering it. By reading that book of not knowing, the 700 pages, it's a lot of pages. Who wants to read such books? Like, because it's a lot, like, it's a lot. Like, do you think I gathered any knowledge? None. After reading that seven, I became even emptied. Whatever I thought I knew, I felt a joke. That's how I read books, not to gather any knowledge. Because knowledge can't do anything in this path. If you have this innocence mind and can see that the world through innocence, if you can look at a bird without even naming it a bird or tell that this is this bird, and just look at the bird with the colors, just look at it. It's more simple than you think. And when I had the spiritual awakening, I remember at that particular time I was like, after few, well, after that experience, like, shoot, this is so simple. How come not everyone see it? And then later, I had like a disoriented period. And then later, when I was like talking with people, I realized, oh, like they are so caught up with this data and the history of who they are. And that's what not like, it's like the knowledge is here, and then the truth is right down there, and then the knowledge keeps hidden. You need to remove these peels in order to see the reality. And at the end, as a truth seeker, I had to like question all my knowledge. Whatever I knew. Even the so-called that like I am living in the planet Earth. How do I know? Well, I read books. In my textbook, it says I'm in the planet Earth. And I've seen movies and I've seen videos and I've seen scientists talking. Like, do I know? Have I gone out of have I gone out of this planet and seen that I'm living in this? No. I mean, now yeah, it's like this can be argued, but I'm saying that try to get the point that I'm saying. At the end, I question every knowledge that I gathered. Everything that I think I know, I had to question. And at the end, I was moving from knowing, thinking that I know a lot, and to a place where I don't know. To a place that I don't even know who I am. And I feel like there's someone here, but who is this? And that's why I say, when you come to a place where you don't know who you are, then the answers will appear. But if you think you know who you are, okay, I'm Dilmi, I'm this coach, and this Sri Lankan, this, that, then everything, then you already know who you are. Why the universe needs to give any answer? No need. So move to the not knowing. If you can read this book, The Book of Not Knowing by Peter Alston, amazing book. I believe as a spiritual seeker, you need to read books that destroy what you have inside. And that's been done by awakened teachers. And that's why I read that book, The Book of Non Knowing. I had to question everything that I knew. And if someone asks me, like, with the knowledge, do I need knowledge in order to see the truth? The question then I would ask is, what kind of a book the fish need to read in order to see the water? Thank you.